Hi, I'm Catherine Warren, and we're back for another installment of Telluride TV's Mayoral Update with none other than DeLanie Young, Mayor of Telluride.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, DeLanie.
Thanks for being here with me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty of the past few weeks since we last spoke, I want to just explain where we are today. We've been spending, each time we do the Mayoral Update, we go to a different location in the town of Telluride, and this time we are on the amazing deck of the Virginia Placer housing complex.
It's a boarding house.
Boarding house, yes. So can you tell viewers a little bit about Virginia Placer and why it's so amazing and special?
I can. The boarding house is probably 3 or 4 projects ago. It was part of a development on Black Bear Road, west of Shandoka, and we built apartments, 3 tiny homes, and a boarding house. It has been extremely popular, as you can see, as we just showed you a second ago. The view is amazing. There's this amazing common deck. There's a very large kitchen area, and we're trying really hard today to not go too deep into COVID stuff if we can help it. We have had to diminish capacity here a little bit because it is a common communal living situation, and we just want to keep people as safe as possible. It's really lovely, though.
Yeah. And the views, they're okay.
I know, they're okay.
So you have had 2 meetings. You had 2 meetings last week. One was a regular September town council meeting, the other a budget meeting. Budget. How can we make that exciting and fun?
Well,
It's very important, though.
it is very important, and I know it isn't the sexiest thing we do at any given meeting. We did have 2 meetings last week. One was specifically and only dedicated to the budget, and the meeting prior to that, our regular meeting, also had an element of the budget discussed at that meeting. When we have our budget meeting, it is 2 parts. It's the financial part, obviously. It is also our goals and objectives for the upcoming year.
Okay.
We use the goals and objectives that we have in place currently, and we go through them and try to reorganize them, reclaim something that didn't get finished, or add something new. This year it's taking us a little bit longer to get through that part of the process because we are revamping it a bit to create what we would like to call value statements.
Okay.
And instead of having this laundry list of things that we say we're going to do, we want to say this is what we mean, this is what our mission is, and here are some of the things we are going to attempt to achieve this year.
Right.
And I think to make the budget piece exciting is to know that despite the last 6 months,
Yes.
we are in an amazing place financially. We are not sure how we got there, but we are there, and we're very grateful. And what that means is people can come to depend on the same services they've had for the last several years.
That's wonderful.
We don't plan on doing anything different in that regard. We also have been able to fill positions that had remained empty because we were in a recession phase, and that is extraordinary. While other communities around the country are having to furlough people and let people go permanently, we have not had to do that, and I'm knocking on wood behind me right now. I think that's exciting, and it should be exciting for everyone, and I hope it gives some people a sense of relief to know we've done well. And I heard yesterday, but didn't see it in writing, that the state has actually done tremendously better than they had expected.
Well, that's wonderful news, because back in April, governments everywhere weren't sure what our budgets, what our incomes would look like, whether it's from sales tax and all the other revenue streams that municipalities and the state of Colorado come to depend on. So
Exactly.
I think the fact that we're a world-class destination really helped us this year. So
I would say so.
yeah.
There were some growing pains with
Yes.
it, but
You mentioned before we hopped on camera there were some mid-year adjustments. What does that mean, and what had to be done in that regard?
we always do a mid-year adjustment of some sort, and it feels a little late this year. It probably is a little late this year in coming because of timing with all of the virtual meetings and meetings being taken over with other things. What we do at those mid-year adjustments is we fully and completely reconcile anything that was left over from 2019, whether it was monies received after the budget was adopted, which by law for us must be done before December 1st of any given year. And we are now in a place to fully reconcile those numbers from 2019, whether they were spending amounts that we weren't anticipating or other monies that came in. And as some people may remember, 2019, the month of December, we ended on a banner year with sales tax and real estate transfer tax accrual. The other thing we do in our mid-year adjustment for the budget is we reconcile any numbers that maybe were surprise spends, such as this year, the $25,000 we put into the Housing Relief Fund, and all of the money that was spent on the tables and the fencing to expand our dining areas.
Clearly things that were not planned or budgeted for last fall.
Not at all.
But wonderful that you were able to adjust things and still offer those to the housing fund and install the furniture in town to help us pivot. That's the word of 2020.
Yes, pivot.
Pivot and unprecedented.
And I have to just say, whenever I hear that word, it reminds me of a character from a movie who just keeps yelling, "Pivot!
Friends.
Pivot!" Oh yes, Ross Geller. Okay, pivot! So, sorry, just had to put a little comedy in there.
So as I was looking at the agenda for the regular council meeting, I was quite impressed. Lots of just business as usual things. Not as much COVID, which obviously the pandemic is still here and still affecting us, but it is, there's lots of business as usual. And word is just starting to get out about the Sunnyside Project. And I saw that was on the agenda. In a nutshell, what is the Sunnyside Project and what did you guys do at last week's meeting?
The Sunnyside Project is a collaborative effort with San Miguel County to build housing units for our local employee workforce. It is a parcel of land that right now is outside the boundaries of the town of Telluride. It's owned by San Miguel County. This is a project that we are doing our best to make it a net zero project, meaning it will become carbon neutral.
Oh, wow.
During the course of its lifetime with the use of more energy efficient appliances, having solar panels for electricity, at least in part, and not using natural gas, which is actually not a renewable thing.
Not as renewable as we were told it was.
Yeah, so we're very excited about that project. We had made a lot of headway and of course it was delayed like everything else had been. And now we're taking each step as it comes to move forward. One of the things we are doing is annexing that parcel of land into the town of Telluride for various reasons.
Wonderful.
And the county, as the owner, is happy with that agreement. It's part of our memorandum of understanding. We are hoping, if things go well, that it will be approximately 30 units of housing for people who, like most of our deed restrictions here, live and work here.
Are they for sale or for rent or a mix?
That is not definitively decided, but the committee, which is made up of the Telluride Housing Authority Subcommittee and a county commissioner and several staff members from the county, we all think that at this point in time and after the last two projects the town built that were for sale, that this should be a rental facility, a rental property. It will be made up of apartments.
Shucks.
I know. It will be made up of apartments and then some townhome type units and maybe a couple tiny homes, but we're still in the drawing board stages somewhat. Right. And there's many steps because that's how government works, and
all the steps.
All the steps. We 2 regular meetings ago had passed a resolution to call the date for a public hearing, so that we can have a public hearing on the annexation, which is on October 6th. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please tune into that meeting
Mark your
and be
calendars.
heard, because it is a public hearing. And then last week's meeting, there was this middle piece. Some pieces of property, depending on their size, require a study to be done to determine if annexation is acceptable or allowable.
Is it an environmental study or like
It's
more than that?
It's a cost analysis
Okay.
in part, and it has a lot of different aspects to it. Since this parcel's only 4 acres, we didn't need to do that study
Okay.
and take on the additional cost, and we passed a resolution getting that all squared away.
Wonderful. So where is the parcel located?
That piece of land is west, which, if you are not good at your directions, if you're driving out of town, it is on your right-hand side, and it is past the Eider Creek condos.
Okay.
It's a pretty steep piece of property. We had
Right.
some really interesting and great engineering ideas going into that.
Sounds like an engineer's dream project
Yeah,
to figure it out. Well, that's very exciting, and
Yeah.
I've always thought that the whole region was very forward-thinking in housing solutions, which is more important now than ever, I'd say.
I would agree with that.
What else did you go over last week? Is there anything else we're missing on that you'd like to highlight to viewers?
We did introduce some new or newer staff members. We have 2, I say new because we just had them introduced to us, but one of them has actually been here since, I believe, January.
Okay.
2 new sworn deputy marshals and a new code enforcement officer. And I know that enforcement has been a big topic during this time, the last 6 months, and concerns about things not being enforced.
Right.
Part of the problem with all of that, whether it's for us or for Mountain Village or for the county, is there has been a shortage of code enforcement and law enforcement personnel.
And some of that is due to the housing issue as well, because it's
Yes.
hard for officers with the experience to move here with their families. So
You are absolutely correct,
cyclical.
Catherine. And we were very pleased to introduce 2 new sworn marshals and someone who's been here a really long time, Suhey. Shout out to Suhey Bermudez, who is our newest code enforcement officer.
Awesome.
And we also appointed a deputy municipal court judge.
Okay.
His name is Dan Robinson. He is from the Western Slope area and has a lot of other duties in neighboring communities. He is a bilingual Spanish speaker, which we
Huge.
thought was a very impressive thing to add to our services
Yeah.
for our larger community. And, a couple appointments to boards and commissions and more budget talk, goals and objectives.
Riveting.
Yes.
What exactly does a deputy municipal court judge do? What will he oversee?
Great question. We have a municipal court judge, and
Okay.
in the event she cannot hear a case for some reason, which could include being recused from a case for
And she
any
is
reason,
who-
Suzanne Ross.
Okay.
And so in the event that she could not hear a case, this deputy municipal court judge could step in and
Great.
take that over.
Well, as my shirt may indicate, I'm a big fan of judges, and they're very important, whether you realize it or not. So, all right, well, we shouldn't say RIP RGB because she is of the Jewish faith, but may her memory be a blessing to us all. Because,
Yeah, we're in mourning.
yes,
If you
I
couldn't
wouldn't have a
tell.
mortgage in my own name without a man on it if it weren't for RBG. So,
Powerful, tiny but powerful woman
Yes.
who has done so much for this entire country and dedicated her entire life to it. And
Yeah.
I think that we all need to just send out as much love as we can to her family, because they, had a mom and a grandma and a great grandma who went through this, and
she didn't get to retire.
I know.
We digress just a bit, but had to wear the shirt for this.
It's been a hard week for
Yes.
people.
And one of my favorite DeLanie memories is Halloween 2019, back during the carefree days when you could just go to a party carefree without a mask on. We both happened to be dressed as RPG, and we did not plan it.
We
So,
did it.
great minds think alike. Looking forward, upcoming meetings. You did mention the hearing, October 6th. Is that correct?
Yes.
What else is coming up in the pipeline that viewers might want to be aware of?
Our next several meetings are going to be very full. We have that public hearing, and we have others that are coming up, that one of which I'm not really at liberty to talk about. I think I can say that there is a call-up, and it is in November at our November meeting. At the October 6th meeting, we will also be talking about something that is, I think, on most people's minds. What is winter going to look like? And this is where, sadly, we diverged back into the world of COVID. We did our best to have an entire
Darn you,
interview
COVID, you're back.
without COVID discussion. We have to just accept that it's a reality for us now, and we need to address it. Summer, as I said, was great for us as a community financially. I think that some of the frontline workers, including people who work in retail and restaurants, grocery store, med center, they're tired. We're all very tired.
Right.
It's been a long haul this summer. However, we saw that we had a lot of success, and a large part of that was being able to be outside and do things.
Yeah.
And it's pretty chilly right now. You
Yes.
might not be able to tell, but it's actually pretty chilly outside.
Those days are numbered, spending lots of time outside.
And as you can see behind us, the trees are starting to turn. So the seasons are changing. As winter approaches, that outside expansion for us in Telluride is not as easy as it is for some communities that have more than one main road in and out of town,
But
or
have plazas right there.
have a hardscape
Mountain
plaza
Village.
that's only pedestrian.
Right.
And we really want to hear from the businesses and see what we can do, if anything, to help them make this winter as comfortable and as smooth as possible. And we are going to be having that initial discussion for ourselves, for town council, and what it looks like in the town of Telluride specifically on October 6th.
Okay.
We have staff and some council members who have chatted with various business owners and just have asked them to please keep in mind, what do you think might help you
Right.
in the winter, knowing you have diminished capacity? And that's a state rule. That's not a town rule or even a county rule. That's from the
Nope.
state.
And not expected to change anytime soon.
No. And the other big thing that isn't necessarily our thing, and I like to give a shout out to the other communities. Mountain Village has just announced their process and some of their ideas for what they're going to do this winter. You can go to their website and find out. It's very exciting in my opinion. And the county has been working so hard with Telluride Ski and Golf on what their plan is going to look like. And I guess I would say the ultimate, most important thing for all of us is that we keep everyone safe and healthy. That is not just the people who live and work here, that's visitors who are coming here too. We want everybody to stay safe and healthy, and whatever we can do to remain vital and remain vibrant and still do that is what we are hoping to accomplish.
Yeah. And it'll be a very interesting winter when our markets fly in, and depending on the airline industry. So many moving parts at play here.
There are.
All right, well, anything else, or is that a good note to end it on?
You know, we're about to enter our typical off season. None of us really know what that's going to look like. What I would say is, if you do decide to travel, be safe, be smart, remember your 5 commitments. That was for you, Grace Franklin. And that's our public health director, if you didn't know. And just remember that wherever you go and whatever you do, when you come home, you're bringing that experience back home with you. So just be safe, be smart, but have fun.
And have fun. We need a break.
We do need a break.
All right, well, thank you so much, DeLanie. Keep up the great work.
You too, Catherine.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you to Telluride TV. Thanks, Tim, for always making this happen for us.